Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Intuitive Mind Solutions podcast. I'm Dr. Matt Bresky, your host, and I'm with our co-host, our holistic therapist, Joshua Badawines.
All right.
And today is our 13th episode, and it is our first episode in season 2. And today we have a special guest with us today who I've known a very long time in my life. I could almost say almost 30 years of our life. And we have Dr. Angela Pascoe, and she's a chiropractor living and working in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. And we've known each other since Bible camp, since we were kind of early teens.
Yep.
And then we went to we went to Augustana College together, and as well as chiropractic school. So we've been in each other's lives for most of our lives.
Yep.
And so now it's an appropriate time to bring you on the show. And I want you to share with the rest of the people listening kind of what you're up to. And so first I'll have you just tell a little bit about yourself. And then we'll get into the nutritional supplement that we're going to discuss in greater detail. Okay? So the floor is yours.
Perfect. Thank you. I appreciate you asking me to come on here. And I always get a little nervous, so I'm just going to roll with it and let you know what I'm up to. So I've been in practice, like Matt said, graduated Palmer in 2009. So I've been a chiropractor for 11 years. A year and a half into my practice, a patient of mine came to me with an ABC investigative report. She said that ended positive regarding wellness and prevention. Well, that's what piqued my interest in what I'm going to talk to you guys about today. But I'll tell you guys, I grew up on an acreage in South Dakota. I have one older brother. I grew up with a mother that loved to garden. So, gardening was a huge, thing. Nutrition, I've always been interested in that. I knew I wanted to help people. So in undergrad, when I was at Augie with Matt, I graduated with a psychology and a business degree. I thought I wanted my master's in counseling. Well, car accident, and blessing in disguise the car accident was, it led me to chiropractic. My son was struggling with asthma at 2 years old, and my chiropractor's wife was adjusting kids when I was, seeing undercare for that car accident. And I said, what in the world, Dr. Jeff, is Terry doing adjusting kids? I didn't understand it. Kids have nervous systems too, was his response to me. So I ended up, my son was undercare and got phenomenal results, and that led me to really recognize and realize I want to be a chiropractor. I want to teach parents, grandparents, there's a better way than surgeries and drugs. Thankful when they're necessary, but not your first go-to. So enter Palmer College of Chiropractic. The end of school, I had 2 of my girls at home. I have 3 kids, 11, 12, and 19. And the girls I had at the end of chiropractic college. So when it comes to busy, I know what busy feels like, but give something important to a busy person and they're going to get things done. So a year and a half into my practice, my patient comes to me with that ABC investigative report. I watched it with really skeptical, skepticism. There's a lot of things that come across our path, when we're in our own practice. A lot of things get presented to us, and I take it with a grain of salt because how much science is behind it. And the science behind this, there were 7 peer-reviewed studies behind the flagship product, Protandim, is what we're going to talk about here. And that spoke volumes to me. And they were funded by independent organizations like the American Heart Association, Ohio State, Vanderbilt, Harvard, reputable organizations. So I took a look. I dove a little deeper, and my patient was smart enough to connect me with a cardiologist that explained how this product worked. It wasn't another supplement. It was actually an activator. It turns on this protein in our cells called NRF2. So, and I'm going to dive in and talk to you a little bit about what that means. So when I watched that ABC investigative report, and for those of you that want to view it, go to biohackandactivate.com and hit rewind and listen to that again if you need it again. But it's less than 10 minutes. And the doctor on there, it's the ABC investigative report, plus the doctor talks about the 3 main theories of aging. And I had heard of, oxidative stress in chiropractic college, not a lot about it, but I knew that it's cellular stress, right? It's an accumulation of free radicals in our bodies that cause damage. And as we age, what happens, our body's own antioxidant production goes down, right? So our ability to fight off those free radicals is reduced, and it becomes harder and harder. So what the flagship product Protandim does, it flips a switch. It flips the NRF2, NRF2. It's a protein in every single cell of your body. It turns that on, and when that protein's turned on, it then attaches to the DNA of every cell, and it tells our body, hey, make more of your own antioxidants. So instead of taking antioxidants, we're making antioxidants. And then I saw that the vitamin C molecule that one might take, maybe that has 60 antioxidant molecules in it. It's only going to neutralize or get rid of 60 free radicals. It's a 1-to-1 ratio. Whereas our body's antioxidants neutralize 1,000,000 free radicals per second, every second. So it made sense to me, turn on your body's own antioxidant production, just rev that up by turning on this NRF2 protein. Other interesting things, because I'm a nerd when it comes to the science, so you'll have to have me on here again if you want to go deeper and deeper and deeper. I certainly could. I went down the rabbit hole because I'm very interested in this. Also, what NRF2, what that does, it increases the body's, your own anti-inflammatory genes. It increases the production of your own anti-inflammatory genes. It reduces your pro-inflammatory genes. So it's doing the best of both worlds regarding inflammation. Also, it increases the body's anti-scar tissue, anti-fibrotic genes. So whether it's scarring in our muscles, whether it's from previous injury, whether it's scarring in the heart, scarring in the lungs, all those things lead to certain conditions. So this can help at reducing scar tissue formation. And it does so in the third peer-reviewed study. It shows that what Protandim NRF2 does, it increases the body's most powerful antioxidant, glutathione, by 300%. And for those of you that aren't familiar with glutathione, look that molecule up. It's important and primarily responsible for muscle healing and recovery, for detox of heavy metals in our brain. Not to mention scar tissue. It's really good at helping reduce scar tissue. But also, in light of everything we're going through now, with different viruses, whatever it might be, whether it's COVID or not, what we're going through, we should be asking ourselves that question, right? How do we strengthen our body's own immunity at a cellular level? So this is something that I feel is in my, toolkit or toolbox, of things I can do to help, activate my own antioxidants, reduce inflammation naturally, reduce scar tissue naturally. And I find that, what I also found really interesting as I was, learning about this, I had a dear, my cousin, and Matt, you know Jenny. You met her at Bible camp too when we were all in middle school, and she ended up, she's a year younger than I just turned 40 this year, in 2013 diagnosed with a glioblastoma stage 4. That's the most aggressive form of brain cancer. I won't be claiming to make any claims whatsoever. She chose Western medicine for about 1.5 years until she finally gave me a call and said, Angela, the chemo's killing me. I don't know what else to do. I said, well, I've done a lot of research with this. It can't hurt you to turn on this pathway. It can't hurt to turn on the NRF2 pathway. Because what I read, Louisiana State did a study with melanoma skin cancer, and they showed that what NRF2 activation did, the NRF2 Protandim tuned our P53 gene. That's our tumor suppressor gene. Yes, please, I want that gene tuned the rest of my life. So I told my cousin, I said, I don't know. The team put together 12 bottles for you. I knew she wouldn't take them if she knew they all came from me. They did. She figured that out later and scolded me, but she also thanked me. So she starts activating her NRF2 pathway in 2015. I had her on 1 pill in the morning and 1 at night. 1 is enough for most people because what 1 NRF2 Protandim does, it turns on and off the NRF2 pathway for 12 hours. So for those with high levels of oxidative stress, inflammation, I have those people on maybe 1 in the morning, 1 at night. So that's what I did for my cousin. And she went, every month to Mayo, every 3 months, every 6, and it was clear. You guys, we're in 2020. The research, I had to stop reading the research on PubMed because the research on her form and her type of cancer showed a recurrence rate of 98% within 3 years. Pretty much guaranteed return. So we were celebrating this summer. Her oncology nurse she's getting activated. She's starting. She said, Jenny, I've never seen anything like this. You're a miracle that you're still here. But these are things I get to see every day. And this is the miracle of the human body. This isn't just, a magical pill. This is, I call it a little golden activator that turns on the Nerve-2 pathway, and it's powerful. Washington State University did a study as well on Nerve-2 showing that it could very well, their claim was that it could very well be the most extraordinary therapeutic and preventative breakthrough in the history of medicine. And they looked at different conditions. They looked at autoimmune conditions, inflammatory bowel conditions. They looked at different types of cancers, neurodegenerative conditions, you guys. I get really excited about this. What Nerve-2 activation does, the little cells that form the insulation layer around our nerves, the myelin, well, a lot of neurodegenerative conditions attack the myelin. And then we end up with those conditions and the symptoms of those conditions. What Nerve-2 Protandim was shown to do is reduce the death of the oligodendrocytes, the little cells that form the myelin. It stops those cells from dying. So that was incredible from a nervous system standpoint. From an inflammatory bowel standpoint, I had a patient of mine who got started on this. I've been involved 9 years with this company, and horrible struggles with, she never had it diagnosed, but I think it was irritable bowel of some sort, probably ulcerative colitis, honestly. And she got started on it and ended up seeing improvement. And I thought, well, it's probably just the reduction of inflammation. Well, my friend, who's a surgical pathologist in Canada, went to a Nerve-2 conference 2 years ago in Japan, met the gentleman that founded that protein, and he said, why it helps the inflammatory bowel conditions? Nerve-2 activation increases the little hairs in our small intestine. Those small intestinal villi, well, they're important. You could supplement till you're blue in the face, but unless you're absorbing it, it's not going to do you any good. So what Nerve-2 activation does, it increases those little hairs, which increases our body's ability to absorb what we're consuming, whether it be our food, whether it be other supplements. So I think activating this pathway can help in so many ways, and it can help enhance maybe the health strategy somebody else is already doing, whatever supplements somebody else is already consuming. But the need for high levels of antioxidants, out the window. I love sitting down with people and going over their supplement list, and I say this jokingly, but not really. I call it Dr. Oz syndrome. People see the latest, greatest thing, they run to the health food store, and before they know it, they're on 20, 25 different supplements, and they don't know which one does what for what. And you can over supplement.
And there's no quality control of any of them.
No.
Zero.
No, there isn't. Are you really taking that folate? Is it really folate? How is that vitamin D? What kind of oil was that vitamin D in? Usually soy derived, and it's not, GMO soy derived oil. So, people can be doing themselves more damage by taking too many supplements. I tell my patients all the time, our bodies are intelligent. We just have to figure out ways to turn them on, to flip these switches. So, and this is just one switch that we found is Nerve-2 activation. What I find really exciting, so the company then came out with Nerve-1 and NAD. And maybe I'll go into this, our next, follow-up podcast. But and Nerve-1 increases our mitochondria. It repairs damaged mitochondria. That's the powerhouse of our cell. And then the NAD is responsible. I can't believe it. Matt heard about NAD back when we were in Augie. I had no clue what it was. But what I know is NAD is responsible for mood, motivation, energy, concentration, release of dopamine in our brain. What happens with all of these different theories of aging, oxidative stress, it increases as we age. Our ability to fight it is reduced. Mitochondria, we lose the number of them as we age, and they decay and they malfunction. And the largest number of our mitochondria is brain and heart. And women, it's our ovaries. So when somebody has a full hysterectomy, they may end up feeling chronic fatigue after that. They've lost a large number of their little powerhouses that give them energy. And then NAD. NAD is responsible for activating our sirtuins. Those are proteins that help with the mood, the motivation, the energy, I don't have jet lag. I don't travel anymore, but when I started on this, I don't have that lag anymore. But what's incredible, the synergy that happens when you take these three protandims together, actually increase the anti-inflammatory genes up to, let's see, over 1,500%. When I saw that, I got really excited, because I got really excited. People that walk through my doors with chronic arthritic conditions, chronic RA, high levels of inflammation, that's attached to people's pain, you guys, is inflammation. So when we can increase our body's own anti-inflammatory genes over 1,500%, I'm in. Also, NAD increased, taking the three together, increases that NAD gene expression over 1,700%. And then the NRF1, that's increased, not as much, but increased an extra 70%. So that's the tri-synergizer, the three Protandims together. But the flagship NRF2 Protandim, yeah, I'm very glad that was brought into my office and to my attention 9.5 years ago. I still feel that I'm a pioneer. Not many people know about activation and turning on these pathways. The NRF2 pathway was discovered in the early 90s. That protein wasn't even a thing until the early 90s. And the doctor that formulated NRF2 Protandim, he wanted to figure out a way to reduce cellular stress, oxidative stress, because there are no drugs that do that. And oxidative stress is the root cause of over 250 conditions. So 9.5 years ago, when I went to pubmed.gov, the National Institute of Health's website, I typed in oxidative stress. There were about 85,000 studies. You guys, there's over 240,000 studies, almost 240,000 on oxidative stress. It's the direction research and science is headed. Even NRF2, there were like 500 studies when I first learned about this. There's over 16, almost 17,000 studies on NRF2. So, and link it. I tell people, go to pubmed.gov, type in NRF2 and whatever you're concerned with, oxidative stress and whatever you're concerned with, and make that connection. But I appreciate this company because it was a retail company. This product sat on the shelves for 6 years. It did terrible. And then that ABC investigative report aired in 2005. Millions of orders came in, millions of dollars worth of orders came in. 6 scientists in Denver aren't marketing people. They didn't know how to get that information out to people. So May of 2009, this went into the network marketing or direct sales model. And I'm really glad that it did, because Matt, growing up in the Midwest, we typically hear about things 10 years after, the coasts get to hear about them. I feel like we're mushrooming out from the Midwest because of people that understood it. Cardiologists that understood this. He understood oxidative stress is the root of most of all heart conditions. And now we have over 25 published peer-reviewed studies on NRF2 Protandim. And most, I think all but 3 are independently funded. Just 3 are independently funded, are funded by our company. The others are independently funded. So that all spoke volumes to me. It made sense. I had a history in my family of heart. My grandpa died at 72 of a heart attack, a massive heart attack. And, so we have all these genetic conditions in our families. We're not plagued by our genes, you guys. We can tune our genes. They've shown too, another study was done with NRF2 Protandim where they looked at plaquing in the arteries, atherosclerosis, they looked at Alzheimer's, and they looked at colon cancer. And in all 3 of those conditions, the genes were flipped. 90 to 95% of the genes in those conditions were flipped. So, I've seen absolute miracles when you can turn on and activate these pathways in the body. It's incredible, the healing potential we have. So I'm very fortunate that it moved into that model. That way, what's more powerful than, a friend telling you about something that works? It's something that's really impacted and changed their lives. That's way more powerful than an infomercial or a product that's sitting on the shelves of a GNC. You walk into a store like that anyway, and you're overwhelmed. I am, even knowing about nutrition and supplements, but it just didn't sell. This product definitely has a story that needs to be told. I call it a unicorn product. It's something nothing else out there does what this does. So, or comes close to it. There's more NRF2 activators that have came onto the market, but nothing like the solid peer-reviewed science we have behind this one. So,
yeah, I think it's me from personal experience. So when I was Josh, when I was back in the States visiting, I stopped by her practice, got an adjusted her, showed her some of the stuff we're working on. And then, I think what I saw the Protandim sitting there, and I asked you about it. and it's something I kind of knew about before, but I was dealing with also some kind of some colon, like irritable bowel type stuff, like a lot of abdominal cramping I was dealing with and pain, and also was dealing with a lot of brain fog because I had been my whole life kind of in that ADHD type of, how would you say, like that was kind of like my mode. It was definitely attention deficit hyperactivity. I couldn't concentrate, and I tried a few things. I tried Ritalin. I didn't like how it made me feel. I didn't like any of the side effects. But when I took this, wow, it was such a change. It was like I told everybody, this is a game changer because this allows you to be more productive, clear-headed than you've ever been in your life. Not to mention all the benefits of decreasing inflammation as well and other discomforts that you have. So I've been
Absolutely
on it since you gave it to me.
Fantastic. So almost a year, a little over, what was that, a year? July? Was that July you came? Was it August?
Yeah, I think it was in August last year.
Okay, nice. So over a year. The benefits keep accumulating too, Matt. The longer a person is activated, the more those benefits, because how long does it take a person to get into the state that they're in? I tell patients that all the time. You can't expect one adjustment, right? Or one visit to the gym and you're in shape and your spine is in perfect alignment. It takes time for those things to happen. But what that ABC investigative report shows is that it reduces our cellular stress, oxidative stress, 40% in 30 days. That's huge. We can make that claim. That's the first peer-reviewed study. There isn't anything else out there that can do that. And then that accumulates 3 months or more that a person takes it, it is reduced up to 70%. So it's fun.
This supplement would be really handy for all the people in the Netherlands because the Dutch diet is basically oxidative stress.
Is it?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
If you think about all the stuff that we don't know what's in all these foods that exist here, there's a lot of, in my opinion, a lot of poor food. And in this country, I've seen so many cases of lots of colon cancer, lots of digestive system cancer. And that, I think it's based on the diet that's been instilled in the people and the heavy milk drinking that they've had their whole, it's changing. But still, you hear about it, and it's just you want to share with everybody this new product that isn't really common in the Netherlands. Nobody knows about it.
Yeah, even here, I'll still 1 out of 10, or 2, 3 out of 10 people probably still don't know what in the world I'm talking about when I say nerve 2 activation. Yeah. There's still so much potential to spread this word, and really, I think it's another key piece on becoming the best version of yourself. Because you're activating, you're turning on your body's, this protein so it can do what it's designed to do. It can go and, fix those areas in the body that need fixing. We don't know, intellectually what needs to be fixed inside of our bodies. But when we can turn these pathways on and we can reduce inflammation, scar tissue, increase SOD, increase those things that can help improve mood, that's where I think the NAD is a game changer regarding mental health.
Yeah, and I would love to get NAD available here in the Netherlands.
I know, we're working on it here in the States. There's so many different regulations with other countries. We'll keep getting it to you through your brother or whoever we need.
Well, if we get into a controversy later, maybe the Dutch government doesn't want clear-headed people in its country.
There you go. You never know.
We have close to 18 million people here, and the top list of deaths is heart and vein disease and cancer. And there's on the 18 million people, a year is when I think out of my head is 45,000 who die of heart disease and like 37,000 that die on cancer. If you put that along to COVID, we're on 6,000 or something like that, and nothing is done on this heart disease and the cancer is also, and everything that comes in that maybe is a possibility too gets shoved under under the door.
Well, I will have a link for the people listening to this show that they can go onto it and they can purchase it and they can get NRF2 and the NRF1 and plus the probiotics and the omega-3.
Yep.
That they can get, and that's available. That's what I've been taking. And when I'm in the States, I have picked up the NAD before. And so that's how I know that stuff is really good, and I really would want that to get into the Netherlands as fast as possible.
Yep.
And yeah, it's weird because I was talking to a client of yours I referred to you, friend of mine from high school.
Yes.
And he was talking to me on the phone, and he's like, is it really like the Limitless thing? Like from the movie Limitless?
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, kind of is. Because, I find myself today, I've already had around 50 clients today. It's 10:40 p.m. and I don't have mental fatigue.
Yep.
Like I just have nerves whenever I do these calls.
Of course. That's normal. That's
You're
normal.
too excited.
I love what this does. It just brings out the best of who you are.
Josh.
Yeah.
Oh, real quick. Sorry to interrupt. I gave Josh just one dose.
Yeah.
And Josh, maybe you want to tell everybody what you've experienced.
One dose of what? Just the Nerve 2 or NAD?
I gave him Nerve 2, Nerve 1, 3, and 3 omegas.
Okay.
Yeah, I asked him, is there a caffeine in there? Because my head is like, yeah,
Okay.
it was a little heavy the first time I took it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like you drink 5 cups of Red Bull, but then without the heart knocking and stuff like that. But the head is so busy with everything at the same time. I could do lots of things similar. Then in the movie Limitless, it was a bit like that. Yeah.
It is, and people may experience that when you get started with these products. They're powerful. We're not supplementing, we're activating, we're turning on pathways, right? So I always start people on one of everything, especially the NAD. It's super powerful. I don't want people feeling too jazzed up. But you can get this big surge in energy, but what it is, it's a sustained energy, right? Like
it lasted long, really long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you don't have a crash because it's not packed full of caffeine and sugar. And it's wonderful. It's wonderful to have that energy. When I first got activated, my kids were, they were 2, 3, and 9. I was a year and a half into my chiropractic practice. I was a little tired, so to be able to go home and read to my kids and still have the energy and not fall asleep as I'm reading to my kids at night, and to have that sustained, clean energy, it's fantastic. You can't,
Yeah.
It's kind of, I like to talk in analogies. So I'm kind of, for the audience listening, because you went into depth in a lot of pretty heavy terms. So we're going to have fun with the subtitles. But, it's good. It's good. That's exactly what it is. And it's kind of like our bodies are designed to heal itself. And throughout our body has a bunch of ambulances already throughout the whole system. Yep. But then the modern diet is like a poison for the ambulance, and it shuts all the ambulances down. So then our own body's ability to heal itself is diminished because now the ambulances are there, but they can't move. They can't be active because they have no fuel.
They have flat tire.
And so when you take that the Protandim series, then basically this is like sending a bunch of tow trucks and auto mechanics, and they go and repair all the ambulances throughout the whole system. And some of these ambulances may be hard to get to, so that's why after a year or 2 years you're still taking it and you're still noticing changes, because there's some hidden ambulances all throughout the system. And as we know about healing, it takes time. But it also needs the opportunity. And if the ambulance can't get to the problem, then the problem will linger and persist.
Absolutely.
Is that kind of a good way to put it?
Analogies are wonderful. Can I throw one more analogy in there?
Absolutely.
So one of my friends, Scott Satterfield, he always says, he goes, okay, imagine our bodies produce garbage, right? When we're young, we got a ton of little garbage men cleaning it up. So we don't end up with the oxidative stress, right? The cellular stress, as you know, when we're little. As we get older, the garbage continues to accumulate, but we lose the number of garbage men, those antioxidants, right? So by taking Protandim, activating nerve 2, we increase the number of garbage men. And we increase the number, too, of CEOs to tell those garbage men where to go. Not only increase the garbage men, but they need to know where to go to clean up the junk. So it just makes sense. It just makes sense.
And to the listeners here on the show here, if you guys go ahead and want to dive into this and try it for yourself, just remember in the beginning, when your body starts to go through a healing situation, it can almost feel worse at the beginning.
Yep.
Because I know that happened with me, where I was like, I felt worse, but I knew something different was happening. I just knew it. I could feel it. I was like, and I talked to you about it on the phone.
Yep.
I told you about my concerns about how I was feeling, but I didn't have this thing like there was something wrong. It just felt like my body was like, changing from the inside, and it didn't feel negative. It just felt it was an adjustment, that's for sure, but it didn't last very long. It was only like the first 2 weeks.
Yep. And I tell people that cleansing response that can happen, or detox that can happen, is about a 7 to 10 day process. It might not happen right away. That might happen at that 4-month mark when glutathione boosts, or when somebody adds the NAD, because that's like a deep cellular vacuum cleaner, adding that one.
Yeah.
But you're right. No, people need to be very fully aware that that's a possibility. Just like getting adjusted, right? You might feel a little worse before you get better, but when you get through, when you get past that point, holy smokes, people don't know how good they can feel.
Yeah.
So,
and if you guys are listening and you guys have questions about anything, you guys can contact me at the Intuitive Mind Solutions, info@intuitivemindSolutions.com. And then and if you want to get contact with Angela, I can help set that up as well. If you guys have any more questions, because it's important, because I'm a skeptical person as well. And I want to know what I'm putting in my body as far as supplementation goes. And we are available to assist anybody with any questions as well.
absolutely.
So there go my questions. I had a few questions, but yeah, she killed them, almost all of them. What makes your product different? Yeah, let's leave it. Are there any fillers in them? Yeah, no. Can it do something about cancer and heart disease? Yeah, about the immune boosters. So that's answer 2. Let's see. Then I got, because I'm a skeptical person too, I got 2 more questions, which I made in your storytelling. And the first one is, what's in them? And is it natural?
Absolutely. Protandim is a 5-plant ingredient pill. Let's see if I can name them all off the top of my head. The Nerve 2 Protandim is turmeric, milk thistle, green tea, bacopa, and ashwagandha. So, but it's the synergy of those 5 together that activate this Nerve 2 pathway so powerfully. And there's a small amount, when people say, like, sensitive, if you're sensitive to caffeine, there's a minuscule amount of green tea derived caffeine in it. It shouldn't jazz you up too much. If it does, cut the pill in half. Go on a half a pill for a little while. Let your body get used to that. These pathways are powerful. The other 2, the Protandim, I'd have to have those bottles. I should have them right in front of me. But there are 5 plants in the Nerve 1. There's 4 plants in the NAD. So it's all plant derived.
Yeah, so the Nerve 2, we got the turmeric, green tea, bacopa, milk thistle, and ashwagandha. Ashwagandha, is that an adaptogen?
And it's a brain calmer. It's considered a drug in Japan. It's so powerful.
Okay.
And so that's Nerve 2, and I'll pull up Nerve 1. Nerve 1 has acetyl L-carnitine, quercetin. Is it quercetin? Quercetin? Who's it?
Quercetin. Yep.
Quercetin. Alpha lipoic acid, grape extract, and coenzyme Q10.
Mm.
And what I've noticed is coenzyme Q10 is very important.
Mhm.
And what I ended up finding out that is I needed actually more CoQ10 to help the synergy, so I had to extra supplement another pure CoQ10.
Okay.
And when I did that, that really helped me because I was also busy with another supplement. And when I doubled my amount of CoQ10, it was like that was the binding glue that glued everything I was taking together.
Sure.
And just because I'm a heavier person, I think that's what I noticed a big change when I just bumped up an extra 60 milligrams of CoQ10 per day. Because this already has it, but each pill has 30
Yep.
milligrams, I think. So 60, and I think my daily dose is around 100, 120 is what my body requires.
Okay.
That's what I found for myself.
Yep.
And then we got the NAD for the American listeners. And all right. The NAD has, I think, wasabi in it,
Mhm.
which is like a rhizome powder.
I love wasabi.
It's good.
It's got olive leaf extract, and it's got theocrine and cuprous niacin.
What I love about the theocrine, it's similarly molecularly similar to caffeine. So that's where that attention, that focus is coming from. And then the cuprous niacin can actually help people absorb their iron better as well. For those that might be listening that struggle with anemia, that's important to add that. And the cuprous niacin helps to dilate blood vessels. So people that are sensitive to niacin, they may have a niacin flush. I went on 2 of these right away, 2 NAD right away. I felt like a sweaty teenage girl. I started sweating. I got flushed because it was a niacin flush. So I tell everybody to start on 1 NAD, please. It's powerful. And for some people, they need to stay on just 1. They don't do the 2, or they do 1 in the morning, 1 at noon.
Mm.
But that blood vessel dilation is important. The nerve 2 also can help increase nitric oxide, so that it can help increase blood vessel dilation regarding like heart issues and hypertension and things like that. So
This is great stuff. Being able to kind of get this out for people to actually hear.
Yeah, Matt, I got one last question. I don't want to be a skeptical pain in the ass, but
that's
I am.
okay.
So
I was.
okay,
We all are. So
okay. My statement is evolution makes us what we are, adapted to our environment, and that happened in millions and millions of years. So if we get like the boosters or the tuner of our genes, and we take that and we keep taking that, isn't there a chance we get dependable of these products, or that we gonna need these products to fire these genes every time, like that, or our own firing of the genes is cut when we stop it?
You'll go back to what your body was doing before you took it. So 2 weeks, the doctor that formulated the Nerve 2 Protandim says 2 weeks off Nerve 2, you're kind of back to where you started. You're not, those antioxidant enzymes aren't boosted inside your system. You can boost them somewhat by the foods that you eat, but you'd have to eat, I think it's 376 oranges or 87 glasses of red wine, we'd all be dead, to equal the amount of antioxidant boost that 1 Nerve 2 Protandim gives you. So you're kind of back to where you started. I don't think the body becomes dependent, but I've had some people that might not notice some of those subtle changes quit for a while just to see. And here comes the inflammation creeping back in. There go my knees. They're hurting again. Oh, they weren't hurting. But a lot of subtle changes happen. I tell people to journal, write down every little thing that's going on emotionally and physically before you get started on these products. And 30 days, 60 days, 90 days in, revisit that list and see where you're at. But I don't think it's something, because it's activation, it's not supplementation. So I don't think your body's going to stop, or be worse off if you're on it and then off it. You're just going to be back to where you started.
Yeah, Yeah, that's clear. I just want to be sure to put what in my body. So I'm asking these questions, and I can say I have a degree in deception detection, and I found nothing on you. So that's when I wanted to boost it up a little and try to see if I could put you in a corner there, but didn't happen. So
I love it. Well, and
sorry about that.
if I couldn't answer it, I would flat out just say, you know what, I don't know, but I know smarter people than myself. So
Yeah,
no.
okay.
That's what I always say.
So I have to order soon, Matt. So
Absolutely. Keep me posted on your journey. I get really excited every time somebody gets activated because you become closer to the best version of who you are. So.
Yeah, that's a goal for everybody, I think.
Yep. Absolutely.
Well, we really do appreciate you taking the time to go over this. What we're changing in this second season or second series of these podcasts is we're shortening our podcast down.
Okay.
And we're going to break it down to around, we went a little bit over the half hour. We went around 40 minutes, which is good. Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to end this episode.
Okay.
And we're going to sign off and say goodbye to everybody. But then we're going to start another episode where we're going to go into a little bit of controversial topic where we get to be real with each other and we're going to go outside of this Protandim. But in the beginning of that episode, what we're going to do is we're going to maybe dive in a little bit deep on what a person who invests in Protandim for their self, for their health, what it can do for them, their body we've talked about, but then maybe you can go in just in brief what it can also do for their wallet, because because Protandim, the company, from my understanding, it seems like it will, if you spread this gift to other people, you can earn rewards for that.
Yes.
In a financial way.
Yes.
Okay, so in our next episode, if you guys are interested, we're going to talk briefly about that. Then we're going to go into a little bit of a controversial topic of the day, just because, you know what? Intuitive Mind Solutions, we want to find a solution in an intuitive way to the problems or the challenges that we see around the world. And the only way we can come up with these solutions is if we talk things through. We need to filter out the truths that sit around controversy, because if you guys have all seen The Social Dilemma, Google basically says, well, we don't know what's true and we don't know what's not true and we can't stop anybody. So Google's just going to continue being Google. And, we don't know what misinformation is, and we don't know actually anything is what Google tells us.
Yeah.
So the only way we can find the truth is finding a collective perspective amongst each other. And with that comes truth. That's how we find out what's true, is what is undeniable to a person's mind, body, and spirit.
Yeah.
And that's why we got the holistic therapist with us today. So everybody, Angela, I thank you again for this episode. It was great. It was very, very useful information for me, because now I know even more about, what I've been taking. I just kept taking it because I felt good when I did. I didn't really.
Fantastic. That's all most people need to know is, right? Even when we're adjusting people, like, I don't need to know all the details, just to make me feel better.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So we're going to end this episode now, and everybody listening, always remember, Joshua, what do we do?
Stay relaxed.
Stay relaxed, everybody.